Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcasts. Hello, Andy. How are you? It's
I'm
season
good.
five,
I'm
episode 8.
back from vacation.
Back from we
Holiday.
we said when you were gone, we said that you were off on assignment, and
Yes,
so
I
now
did do
he's
some
back.
work, some stuff you'll see coming up here in the next couple, 3 months. I'll put together.
Some good stuff. We're in season 5, episode number 8. This is a songs edition. We're going to do an album review today. Today's December 28th. December 28th, 2023, our last songs edition of the calendar year. And we've got a
Yes,
good one. And then after the review, we've got some updates on concerts, music, tours, and all sorts of
yes,
updates.
fun stuff.
So we're gonna do Jerry Cantrell today. Now, Jerry Cantrell, lead guitarist for Alice in Chains over the years, and went out and started a solo career.
Yeah.
Very, very good. This is his debut album, Boggy Depot. And so that's the one we're going to cover here today. You're not a big Alice in Chains fan. You're not a big Jerry Cantrell fan. I am. I'm hoping if any questions or whatever comes up, because I got into these guys later in life and really, really enjoy all their work. A lot of the grunge scene in the Seattle. Jerry Cantrell, one of those, of course, grew up in Tacoma after his parents divorced, and there's some good stories there. How he tries to he got to know his dad real well after living with his mother growing up after the divorce, but really making sure that he features his father in a lot of his solo work. Now, Boggy Depot is a place in Oklahoma, Andy.
Okay.
Old Cherokee or Indian area, kind of a location, very popular spot in Oklahoma. And his dad lived near that area when he was a youngster, when he was a young child. And so he went back and got this album cover, kind of playing in the pond there, covering himself up with mud after he got to know his father. Now, Alice in Chains' song Rooster is about his dad and about his story in Vietnam, because he was a Vietnam War vet, spending 3 or 4 years, I think, over there. And once he found that out and got, hooked back up and got a relationship with his father, a lot of these songs connect back with his dad. So he's kind of paying homage here. But Boggy Depot, solo album by Alice in Chains guitarist and vocalists. The album was named after a ghost town in the same name in Oklahoma where Cantrell's father grew up. In addition to singing, Cantrell also plays guitar, piano, organ, steel drums. He produced the album along with Toby Wright. Now, the others. Now, when you do a solo album, Andy, you're well aware of. You can, go ahead and do a solo album, but you need to get your musicians. You need to
That's
get
right.
who is going to be playing. Who are you going to ask to play on the album? And so Cantrell does all the vocals, of course. He does all the lead and backing vocals, lead and rhythm guitars, and some other things as well. But he had to go get some work. So Mike Inez brought in to play bass. He's another Alice in Chains guy. Brought in Sean Kinney to do the drums on the entire album, another Alice in Chains guy. So when you take the late Lane Staley out of the mix, 3 of these songs are just like Alice in Chains without Lane Staley. So
Right.
you're going to get the feel of that on some of these songs. It's a not a rip-off, not a light version of Alice in Chains, but a very similar kind of a sound. But then he brought in Rex Brown to do the bass guitar work on a bunch of other tracks. Have you heard of Rex Brown before?
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he's a pretty good, well-renowned guy. You are going to know probably Les Claypool.
Yep.
Claypool is on 2 tracks on bass as well. And then they also bring in John Norwood Fisher on some various different tracks. So very interesting work here. Here's the songs. First song is called Dick Eye. Dick Eye. Song 2 is Cut You In. Song 3 is My Song. Now, all 3 of those songs were the first 3 released as singles. And this was in 98. So this was 1998 is the album when it came out. And then it released these songs, and it really went kind of pretty good. They hit the charts. There were top 10 in the charts, 2 of these 3 songs. He made music videos for Dick Eye and My Song and Cut You In that did very well. And you would have heard them on the radio. They got a lot of airplay because Cantrell was big with Alice in Chains at the time. So on the rock stations really played, they had a lot of spins of those. The song Cut You In the music video has a scene with his father playing the sheriff in the music video. He had some very good music videos as well. But you could tell the one thing I like about it is he's got his dad involved in a lot of this stuff on his single stuff. And so here is the songs. Those are the first. Those are the first three. All very good. They're going to sound a lot like Alice in Chains. They're going to be radio friendly kind of songs. Now we get into song 4, Settling Down. Song 5, Breaks My Back. Song 6, Jesus Hands. Song 7, Devil by His Side. And some of these are slower, mellower songs. Once again, the lyrics are all Cantrell, so it's got all the emotion in real life stories and real life situation of going through desperate times and stuff. He was an alcoholic for many years, going through all this. Didn't sober up till I think it was around 2002, but really struggling with lots of things in life. And once again, the grunge comes out because you throw this right out into the open and put everything right out in the open, wear it on your sleeve. Song 8 is Keep the Light On. Song 9, Satisfy. Song 10, Hurt a Long Time. 11, Between. And song 12, Cold Peace. Andy, this total 12 songs is 62 minutes and 34 seconds. That's one thing about this album. I don't think it needed to be that long. It's a lot of good work. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but does it need to be 62 minutes long, an album like this? Your thoughts?
Well, there's not a lot of guitar solos in it. I mean, there is, but they're not the long played out guitar solo. He had what, 12, 13 songs on it?
12 songs, yes.
So each song 3 minutes long. That would put you at 40 minutes. So he was about 4 minutes long. They were kind of long songs, but then again, weren't Alice in Chains songs kind of longer also?
I think so. When you go back and look at it, that could be.
When that's all you know. At least he was consistent with the length on them all too. I think I look at the song listing, the track listing here: 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 6, 7, 5, 4, 4. Or 3.5. I mean, the last one's an 8.5 minute song that gets a little kind of dragged out.
Yep.
7 minute song, but the rest are all about 4 minutes. He's kind of telling a story on them all, so you got to kind of drag it a little bit.
Yep.
Should he have maybe done only 8 songs, done a 45-minute album, and kept the other 4 and see what happens? He didn't know how often he'd do these solo albums. When did this album come out again? I'm sorry.
98.
So it was pre-pandemic, so you can't blame it on that. So he was just in the writing mood, wanted to get him out. And the great thing about something like this, when a guy from a band does a solo album, he can get all these other people in to join him to help out do the album, which is great. Because you're not really putting together a band to tour. I don't think you ever planned a tour for this, unless a couple songs blow up and then you go from there. But you look at who he had on bass guitar with him. I mean, Rex Brown from Pantera, Les Claypool from Primus, and then John Norwood Fishbone, basically, he had on there. From the punk band, Fishbone was there. And that's also where the horns guy came from, too. He was also in some other funk bands, too. So he mixes that up. If he was to tour with this, I don't know who he would have picked for a bassist, because these other guys were in other bands, too. So, would he have had the Alice in Chains guys go with him? Don't know. But it was a good little mix. I did listen to it the last couple of days at work. It was.
Did the popular songs? Did you remember those singles at all?
Kind of, but not a lot. Remember, this was 98, Dan. This was my dark country years. So.
Oh yes.
So, 95 to 2000 was kind of a dark time in my life. So
when these first came out, I don't remember a lot of these, but after getting into Cantrell later on in my life, I do remember a little bit, maybe of Airplay, 93X or something. I can't remember, but none of these were songs that I had remembered at all. As far as being,
or if I did hear them, I didn't associate it as his solo stuff. I maybe thought it was Alice in Chains because it did sound a lot like it. Hence, he was from that band and wrote for him. Yeah. It was good. It was I saw how it was all listed as grunge in this. To me, this was just nice rock and roll. You know, I didn't consider it hard rock or heavy metal or anything like that or grunge. It was just good rock music to listen to.
Yeah, the genre does list it as grunge, alternative metal, alternative rock, and heavy metal. And I think some of the songs in there may maybe touch on some of those, but in general, there's a lot of if you put this album in to play it to rock out to, that's not going to work.
No,
If you're going to have it
those
play in the
albums
background,
were
it's got
great.
some mellow stuff. The guitar work I would listen to once through all the way through. Just the guitar work on his
Yep.
very very good. The
Yeah,
drums, of
this is
course, and the bass is good, but the lyrics, the songwriting, the composition, it's
yeah.
got some different things to it, kind of the grunge feel to it, but very good. You know, he didn't get into a solo career, Andy, until he did a song for the movie The Cable Guy.
Okay, that's right.
Well,
Yep.
that song that Jerry Cantrell released called "Leave Me Alone" was for the movie soundtrack The Cable Guy, and he did that, released that as a single, and that was before this came out. So he was playing with that. Now, back in the time when this was going on, Alice in Chains, the band, was not broke up. They were kind of on a hiatus. Lane Staley was in and out of drug addiction and not wanting to do anything, and so these guys were sitting around a lot of the time. I don't want to put words, I don't want to say there's, fiddling their thumbs with nothing to do. But Cantrell was like, look, I need something to do. He's like
You
one
got
of
these
those
creative
artists we talked about
juices. You want to put it
before.
out. Yeah.
That he's like, I've got creative juices. He's very creative, very artistic guy, and says, I got to do something. I can't just wait around for the band to get better. And so he released this. It was no shot on Lane Staley. He
Nope.
wasn't stepping on anyone's toes. He just did this. Lane Staley says, hey, fine, go do what you need to do. Don't let me get in the way. And
And
there
say what
was
you
some
will about
more.
musicians, these guys still had bills to pay too. Yeah,
Yes.
you did $1 million selling album. How many bands don't make a second one after that? You don't know. My name's still popular. I got to make money.
And this wasn't a big production, a big release production to make money on it. Once again, he made money, got it done, and sold a lot of records. It was nothing that was platinum. I think it was just a gold selling album.
Yep.
Perhaps, I'm not sure what it was, but because of the creative juices were flowing, he wanted to get out and do this. And his song, his lead vocals, Andy, I didn't know that he was the president of the choir in high school. He was a very good singer way back then, and I never knew that at all until I read the background for this. I knew he was a musician, a very talented musician. His parents had broken up; they had moved to Tacoma. He was living with his mother. Her boyfriend, the dude she was dating, once brought a guitar over and was playing it. And Jerry's like, hey, let me get a shot of that. I like the sound of that. That sounds pretty cool. Can I try it? And after playing it a little bit, the boyfriend said to his mother, you need to get this guy a guitar. He's got the gift for the music. And so very, very talented guy, and started going on with this. And when he wanted to do this, it said that he had set a date with Columbia Records here to say, I'm going to release it on date X, a year out. And again, as we know, these creative guys, the time comes and he's like, I can't get it done. And maybe that's where, do you need 12 songs?
Yeah.
Does it need to be that well done and that well produced, all these longer songs? And then by the time they set a date, finally, it got pushed back again. And then when they're about to release it, it got pushed back, I think, another month on the release. So very rocky. I think that was Jerry Cantrell testing the waters there without having the band manager, Alice in Chains, handling all this stuff. He was doing it all solo. So things got pushed back, but he's also in so much as a perfectionist that
Yes.
I'm not going to let these songs get out without being perfect.
Well, yeah, because I was in the break room the other day talking to Kevin and Jeff.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain things to them that Jerry Cantrell's voice is very professional sounding. He's not just some guy who was a good singer at karaoke and someone said, hey, you got to really fine tune this and get a career. No, you could tell he was trained on a professional singer. So you could hear that in there, which was kind of, he's one of those artists you want to listen to the album. You don't want to sing along because he's got such a great voice, a clear voice. You want to hear it.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't call it a dark album, but it's
No.
sad, it's emotional, it's kind of a depressing thing, but it's once again, it's his life, the things that he's going through, his life experiences, but tremendous vocals. I would listen to it once all the way through just for the guitar work, knowing now that Jerry's playing all the pieces,
Yep.
the lead and the rhythm, and then listen to it all the way through, just the vocals. Powerful
Yeah.
stuff is what it is. And so he went on to do a couple other solo albums, and he's still active today as a solo artist. I mean, you can go see
Yep.
Jerry Cantrell when he comes to town on his tour. I mean, that's what he's doing now as a living. Very good. Some have gone out to say on some of these reviews, I couldn't believe it, but what I said is, a very influential for our generation, a guitarist, one of the most influential from our generation, a music composer, one of the best in our generation. That I didn't know it was that profound until I started digging into some of this stuff. But I have since
Very underrated too.
I've since bought in all the stuff that he's done. But this is his very first one. Interesting music videos too. When you watch the music videos, this guy's got some creative juices, and MTV had a hard time even airing the second one that he did from this album. They're like, it's just there's too many things going on, too many creepy, weird things that they had a problem with it. And here for the cover shoot, I'm gonna stand in the swamp with mud, and you take the picture of me here, and we'll go from there.
Right.
But that's Jerry. But that's all I've got for the album review. It's good stuff. It's going to take some time if you're new getting into it. But if you're an Alice in Chains fan, you want to listen to this because the voice is, like you say, it's not just a backup guy that just took over.
Right.
And got into vocals later on in his life. Tremendous guitar work, but the vocals is what I think really shocks people, how good they are.
Good and clean.
All right, good stuff. I do recommend it. Here's your other sheet here coming up, Andy.
There it is. Like she says, best podcast anywhere.
Yes, I like that. I saw
can't
that on
argue.
social media.
Can't argue with her.
We can't, no.
All right, here we go. The Bowl. Here's some concerts coming up for the next couple weeks, couple months around here. Gen X Jukebox playing 90s music's playing this Saturday at the Bowl in Shakopee. If that's your jam, as they say.
Yes.
New Year's Eve night at the Bowl, no cover at the door for the Shaw Brothers.
Okay.
So that gives you money for, what were the hams when we were there? 2 for $4 or something like. You get a few hams with that $10 you saved.
They're really good specials they've got.
Yep. January 12th at the Bowl, Foreplay, $10 cover at the door. $10. Okay, $10, people, is not bad. It's a great venue, well worth the $10.
Yeah, it is. It's a perfect fee, I think, too. It's not going to scare anyone off, but it is well worth it. You're going to get there and say, when you leave the night of the show, whatever you're seeing, you're going to walk out the door saying, I got my money's worth.
All right. January 26th, Matt Alice. We'll be playing.
We'll be going. And remember now, that Mad Alice is a cross between Mad Season, the grunge band from Seattle, and Alice in Chains once again. So you'll be hearing some of these songs at that show.
And note the times. There's the opening band is on at 8:30, and Mad Alice sits to the stage at 10:30. So people like us will have to get a nap that afternoon, but we'll be fine. Coming up at Medina, coming up here on Saturday, Leather and Lace, a tribute to Fleetwood Mac and the Women of Rock. So that's Saturday the 30th. Doors open at 7, show at 8. America's Van Halen Experience Jump on January 5th. We'll be at Medina.
That would be good.
Firehouse and Suite on February 10th, the weekend before Valentine's Day.
Romantic.
The weekend before spring training.
Ooh.
Around the same time the Daytona 500 starts. That's right. You want to watch Daytona 500, take the lady to the concert the night before. Ultimate 90s Dance, Full House, the Ultimate 90s Dance Party, February 17th at Medina. NSYNC, Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys, Nelly, Britney Spears, Blink 182, TLC, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's your sort of thing, go. Or you can buy the cheap tickets like I do and sit back and watch all these fools jump around.
Yes.
Lee Greenwood, February 23rd, Friday night at Medina. Proud to be an American, Lee. And then Lita Ford with Steelheart.
I like it. Now this one, I'm thinking of going to. Andy, are you or
I can.
are you
Restraining
interested?
order has been lifted.
Oh, that's right.
We're done
Yes.
with that now. We've talked. I probably won't be able to sit in the front row. Just for it'd be best for both of us.
Maybe just sit
I'll
toward the
sit
back.
back a few rows back. But we've moved on. Lita and I have moved on.
It's a great. I like the the cover there.
Yes, that is a nice Steelheart logo down there. Yes,
Oh my,
and that car is cool too.
exactly.
Dokken and Bullet Boys, Saturday, March 2nd. Kind of a spendy one because they're major artists. Don Dokken's the only one in the original Dokken band up there. The reason I would want to go see Dokken is kind of like I want to see Tom Kiefer this year. His health ain't the greatest. I don't know how often he'll be able to chance to see Don Dokken anymore. So, without him playing festivals and only getting an hour in or something like that, you only hear a good Dokken set. His voice is still hitting it, but he's no spring chicken either.
Yeah, he's been a
lately,
veteran of the music biz for what, 4 or 5 decades now.
Yes,
4?
and he's had some health issues, stuff with his hands. So guitar playing is kind of hard for him. That's his love. So yeah, there we go. That's what I got, man. It was kind of short and sweet today. First day back in the saddle. I got to go a little slow. Take baby steps.
Just ease your way back in.
My way back into some stuff. We do have, like we've put on social media coming up. January here's going to be interviews. Lots of interviews coming up this month. Just be patient.
And that's some good stuff.
Attorneys are still ironing
good
some
stuff in
out.
February as well.
Yes. Yeah, the attorneys are still ironing stuff out for some of the interviews.
Finalizing that.
Yeah, that's paperwork. That's above my pay grade. That paperwork there. That's Connie's problem.
Yes. Now, Andy, I forgot one thing, and you'll get a kick out of this. Is we're both Kiss fans, right?
Yes.
Remember in 1996 when Kiss got back together for the reunion tour, the huge reunion tour?
I watched the Unplugged episode on MTV. I was giddy. I was giddy like a schoolgirl.
You know, it was 1986. The Kiss reunion. They started in Detroit, not Cobo Hall, but they're in Detroit to to bless the old 1975 Alive album was Cobo Hall Arena in Detroit. So that's where they started. They got back together. They got the guys together. And 1996, it was huge. Well, who opened for them was Alice in Chains. This was 1986.
Oh, wow.
And see, I didn't know that. I also wasn't a fan of them, so it wouldn't have done anything for me to see that. But it was after that show when they finished that tour is Jerry Cantrell said that he started working on his solo stuff so that was, think of it in terms of that, the mindset, the time frame back then. It was 1986. Kiss was
96.
96.
It all leads back to Kiss. Everything in rock history leads back to Kiss one way or the other.
It all ties back. It's good stuff. But I saw that. I figure you'd get a kick out of that.
I'm going to give this one Kiss note down here since you said it. The tour's done. They're officially done. They did a little hologram thing. I've turned in my Kiss Army card.
Yeah, I think most of us have with all of the farewells and the final tour and the end of the road tour. It's these guys are in their 70s, for God's sake.
To me, I'm going to throw the sports analogy in here. Watching their last few years or the holograms, it's like watching Harmon Killebrew with a Kansas City Royals jersey the last couple of years, or something like the one guy goes on somewhere else, Jordan with the Wizards. It just doesn't look right. I don't want that to be my last memory of them in my brain.
Now, speaking of Kiss, Ace Frehley just released his new. He's just done a solo work.
That is a very good album too. I've been listening to that.
Pumping through some stuff, and we could review certainly some of those as well. But his stuff is different than the Kiss stuff because it's fresh, new things. It's not regurgitated old music on stage with some old timers up there. But he's releasing new original art music,
and it's good.
And he's such a graphic artist kind of a guy too. Even when you get the liner notes for these CDs or the album covers, he's more than likely the ones who actually did it himself. So he's
Yes.
very active, but that's good. But that's all I've got for tonight's episode. Anything else, Andy, on Jerry Cantrell?
No, it's a good album, good to listen to. It's one of those, like I said, one of those few voices you don't want to sing along to because you just want to hear that voice and appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of respect. It's some good stuff. All right, have a good week, everyone. See
See
you
ya.
next year.
Well,
See you next year.
yes, Coach Mike coming out in you.